Dating God. My name is David, and this is where we love, date, and know God. And today I want to share something that God showed me when I was just dozing off on the seat. It was yesterday, so I don't know when you when you get this video, it will be so many days later. But as I was sleeping, God showed me something that was very interesting and also very disturbing when he brought a picture of, people can be successful but still not fear God. And when I woke up, the Spirit started dropping to me, scriptures or things that are similar to this in the Bible. Remember, we've been doing the book of Daniel, right? And the book of Daniel has kings that were very successful. One of the kings there is Nebuchadnezzar, a man who was very, very successful in his conquering, and he was a king. He built a whole empire. And remember when he walks on top of the palace and says, "Look at what I have been able to build." Right? God reminds me of Darius coming after that, Belshazzar coming there after. And these are kings that have succeeded. And later, but how did they end? Bible says that Nebuchadnezzar, in all his wealth, still God had to show him that God is above him and the wealth he thinks he has built. Right? We have Belshazzar, his son coming later, and the kingdom is doing well, he's partying, and God has to write on the wall. You have people like Darius, men who are taking over after Belshazzar, and still God has to show them something. And then quickly I was reminded about the king that Jesus talked about when he stored, a rich man that stored so much food and amassed every wealth. And that night he said, "Now I can rest and sleep," right? And what happened? The Bible says, and his life was demanded from him that night. And when you remember Daniel and Belshazzar, the Bible says that after Daniel had revealed to him what was on the wall, Daniel was talking to him at some point. Daniel tells him that, "Why have you not feared the God that owns the breath that you breathe?" And so God was trying to show me something, that there is deception of results. And many of us, when we have results, we think we can despise God. Right? And I've had these conversations. Many people ask me, if your God is doing this, then why this and all that? And then I asked God that question, but God, why would other people look like, they are succeeding and we're in the same kingdom? And he told me, go back to Job. I make people pass through different routes in life. But what I want to measure on here is there is deception in results. We always think that when we have results, then we've equated those results and think that we are doing well. And there is always a temptation or the pride of we don't need God. The pride, I've had people mock God and say, "I cannot go to church. Why should I go to church? I have everything, I am doing well," and all that. But child of God, I want to remind you that God hates pride, and he brought every person that thought that is proud down. And this God that we serve is a God that owns your life, whether you like it or not, whether you call yourself an atheist or every other thing you want to call yourself. Oh, God is God. Belshazzar was told that the God that he despised by taking the things from the temple and using it to drink in his party owns his life. And that chapter ends when that God took him. Nebuchadnezzar, a rich man, and all of us are history students. We've studied the history of the Babylonians and all those people, and we found out that he was a man very strong, very wealthy, but still God made this man eat grass because he needed him to recognize that he is God, right? And so the question here is not that wealth is bad. The question here is, who do you recognize when you are on the top? Because God lifts us, and mostly when he lifts us is when now we start to despise him plus everything that comes from him or associates with him. When we are struggling, we need God. But I want to remind you that every wealthy man and every man that will get on top will always look for God, however much they've despised God. We know of people who came